Hello, and you are listening to FPcast, the official podcast for Fruitless Pursuits, where we bullshit about the week in pop culture. I'm Luke.
And I'm Jacinto.
And this week, we're talking about...
Movies, television, collectibles, video games, comics, books, board games, and more.
Starfish.
Right. Where was her scar?
Well, like Scar Joe, but she was half fish.
Yeah, I was making a allusion to perhaps a sexual joke, which she didn't sort of...
Pick up on.
Yeah. Oh, damn it!
She's probably got a scar now, after having a little babby.
Did she have or did she have a Caesar?
A Caesar. Ooh.
Ooh!
Hail Caesarean.
Hail Caesarean.
How is that for bloody George Clooney? He's been rocking the Caesar cut for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, and now it's paid off for him.
All leading up to this moment.
Well done, George Clooney.
Go for it, Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
You are the man. So yes, if you haven't guessed, we saw Hail Caesar.
Yes. Starring ScarJo and
Yes.
George Clooney and a whole bunch of other people.
Whole bunch of other people. It's a prequel to Hail Hitler. And no, a sequel.
A sequel, obviously. Yeah, it's after.
It's in the 50s.
Yeah.
And it was pretty fantastic. Sort of.
Great fashion. Like, all those Nazis so great at fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I just said like just in terms of, you know, when you're just sort of like vamping on a podcast and I said, yeah, it's pretty fantastic, and then you think, oh, people are going to go,
well, we don't need to listen to the review
so your
now.
review is that it's pretty fantastic, and then I'm like, is it? I'm not sure because I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah, we only saw it very recently, like a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, so we're going to review that soon, but
Yes.
first we're going to do the news. We're going to talk about some trailers, and then after we do the Hail Caesar review, we're going to talk about some other gubbins as well.
Yeah.
Just anything off the top of the dome. We want this to be a relaxing podcast for you where it's not just about getting all your solid hits, because we read all the news off the internet. You can access the internet, I assume, because you're listening to us right now.
Yeah.
So
unless
it's
this
more...
has been, you know, delivered by Stork to you on
True.
a USB, you know, I mean, we don't want to judge your lifestyle choices. That's what we're saying.
Would a stork deliver it on USB, or would a stork write it all out on the body of a baby?
Maybe.
It might be
and then
multiple
the baby
babies.
would be like holding parchment, which
Yes.
it is the whole transcript of this podcast is written out on.
Oh, we've been left a baby, and there's a note. Hello, and you are listening to FPcast, the official podcast for Fruit, etc.
This baby has a weird name.
Scarfish? What? Yeah, so all those kinds of things. I wanted to just talk about something a little bit philosophical to open the show.
Uh-huh.
Because I was thinking about this morning. This is what I was thinking about, because you got caught in traffic, right?
Oh, God, the worst traffic to
Yeah.
ever happen to anybody, yes.
Because we are very punctual. We're not people that ever come in late to a movie. We are there.
I mean, I, as a rule, am never punctual.
No,
but,
you're not punctual at all.
But as far as getting to the movies, we are always on
We're
time.
always there for the beginning of the movie, and let's be fair, we made it. We saw the beginning of this movie.
Yeah,
we were there
by
with
some fucking
probably
miracle,
about
we
5
got
to 10
there.
minutes.
Yeah,
Early, you know, before the film started. So we did actually make it, but it was tight.
it was very tight.
It was very tight. So I was thinking about things, and at first this isn't going to seem very. Look, by the way, Jacinta has no idea what
No,
I'm
I've
about
got
to talk
no
about.
fucking idea where this is going.
This is one of those things that is going to sound like, well, why are we talking about this here on the podcast? But then I think there is something that kind of relates to pop culture in general, and the way that we often talk about how communities on the internet and stuff react to things and how they do things. And what I realised is that at 39 years old, I'll be 40 later this year, and I'm sure I'll talk a lot about it then and leading up to. But there is very little new in the world. Like, there really isn't. Like, when you think about things like animals, food, all that sort of stuff, it's all the same. It's been the same, like, forever. And it will continue to be the same. There's no, like, thing where they go, hey, in September, breaking news, there's going to be this new, like, kind of rabbit pig thing. It's the newest pet. It's going to be amazing.
Well,
everybody's going to want one. There's nothing new in the
they're
world.
not creating new things, but they are continually discovering new animals the further they delve into the depths of the ocean.
Yeah, but they're not exciting ones, and it's not
I don't know, I think they're pretty fucking exciting. They're all crazy glowfish and shit.
Yeah, but you can't keep them, like, they're not going to overtake a cat or a dog, or even in the zoo.
No, because they'll eat your hand
They're
off.
not going to be like an elephant or a giraffe or something like that. You know, I went to the zoo when I was a kid. I go now as a 39-year-old man, if I did, it would be all the same.
Yes.
And food's the same. Like, you can mix it up and go, oh, now we're having, like, this with this on top of it, but it's all the same. Mm-hmm. So the only thing in the world that is different, that changes, is technology.
Yes.
Like, that's the only thing. Everything else is all the same. Trees are always the same. Grass is always the same.
The ozone layer is changing.
Again,
we're all going to die.
It's diminishing, but it's the same. It's the same thing. That's just like going, oh, Christina, yeah, it's changing, but it's still the same thing. Like, Christina Ricci's still Christina Ricci, whether she's got a, like, sort of curvy and a little bit of chub like in Buffalo 66, or if she's like a skeleton with a giant head, which, you know, still Christina Ricci, fundamentally. So I was thinking about that, and I think that, you know, we just saw a film which asked a couple of philosophical questions, and that's why I think that if you talk about is the universe created, was there a creator? I think can't be, because creators create. Like, they would constantly want it. They wouldn't be happy with, oh, I made a giraffe a few thousand years ago and now I'm just going to settle for that. Like, you would create new things, because it's actually kind of, you know, that's why we're all in these routines and these cycles, because it's all the same. You know, there's no creator out there that's going, okay, everybody, this November vagina 2.0. It's going to also smell like hot apple pie. Okay. You know, it's going to be amazing. And then I thought, like, even if there was a creator and they were creating new things, and they were like this kind of cross between, I guess, like Willy Wonka and Steve Jobs, you know, that sort of character. There are all these people now that, with the absence of a creator, you know, with the absence of a visible creator, like, there's no, you know, they have to have faith. That there's no, like, God walking around going, hey, look at this new product launch of all these new animals and Vagina 2.0 and everything. Instead, you know, people just have to believe in that. But if there was, if God did come down and say, this is what we're going to be doing, can you imagine? Like, I don't think people would be on their knees, like...
People would be like, I liked my old vagina.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, the internet would be like, oh, Vagina 2.0 is going to be so shit. It's going to be awful. And I liked how it used to work. I hope they put in some sort of switch or some sort of, like, deal where you can go back to the original if you want. And then there'll be those people that just hold off forever, and then they'll be about to have sex, and it'll be like, oh,
you're not compatible.
This cock's no longer supported.
Yeah, penis 3.0 doesn't work with vagina 1.0.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's no new things. But that's what I mean. Like, even people where the same genitals are the same, there's no, you know, look, everyone's the same on the inside or outside, depending on which one you are. But you know what I mean? Like, it's all the same. And we're expected to, like, people say life's short. It's pretty long if everything's the same. Like, I reckon you could do it all in a couple of months if you applied yourself.
Well, not if you started at zero. You started from birth. You probably can't do it all in a couple of months.
No, that's true.
Because you can't speak or walk or anything.
Yeah, okay. You know? Look, that part is pretty good, okay? That first, you know, 7 or 8 years, everything's different.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, fucking giraffe, are you kidding me?
Man, there was a song on the radio this morning that was an adult man saying that he wanted to be a kid again, and you were like, this is a shitty song.
Well, that is a song. No, it is a shitty song. Who's that song by?
21 Pilots, and it is a shitty song, to be fair.
And now look, I don't know anything about modern music, so I was hearing this for the first time, and that is a man singing about how he wants to be a baby again because he's stressed and he wants, like, the good old days where mom would sing to him. And I'm like, one, Arrested Development is totally in fashion. GQ, newest cover, man babies rule the world. Like, you don't everyone's a kid, no matter how old they are these days. Especially this, like, you know, upcoming generations, or my generation, I won't anyone who was a kid in the 80s, chances are they're still a kid now. Or are really fucking boring, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I know that, look, I know that as well. Like, I know that there are people that are my age that, like, I see girls on Facebook that I went to school with who are with partners that look 55, and it's like, fuck, like, you're at this latter part, it's like you're in this latter part of your life, like, what possessed you to accelerate to that point when, but then they would be the exact opposite. They would be looking and going, wow, why
I've achieved
you
this benchmark in my life.
Yeah, and what are you doing? Like, finger painting every day in your dad's backward shirt as a smock.
I see a lot of friends on Facebook that are, you know, a couple of kids going out on the weekend, fishing on the boat, and I'm just like, that sounds awful. Yeah. Every part of that sounds awful.
So, look, that's the debate. I want to know, what do you think, listeners? Is it Is there a creator? If there is a creator, why did they stop creating? Why did they close the chocolate factory?
But what if God was like Steve Jobs and he didn't have a Tim Cook and he just had to let things just organically play out? Because there was no active takeover.
I don't care if he has some clunkers. I don't care if he goes...
Oh, there's some clunkers, mate.
Oh, look, here's a...
I can name some.
Six-legged cow that... Like what?
No, I meant like people, but I'm not going to name them.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like, terrible creations.
Well, birds are fucking shitty creations, and birds need to fuck off. And mosquitoes. Birds and mosquitoes. That was bullshit.
Do birds eat mosquitoes, though?
Some probably do. Spiders eat mosquitoes, so spiders are awesome. Sorry to all the arachnophobes out there.
Do you reckon that's the issue then? It's like the old lady that swallowed a fly.
Yes.
You create like that one thing.
Yeah.
And then you go, this is
Somebody
actually...
needs to control this
is
thing.
actually a bit shit.
Yeah.
So we put in this other thing.
Yeah.
And it snowballs inside a lady's belly. And basically at the end of it, in this big babushka doll of nature, you have this old lady who with a big mouth.
Yeah.
Who hasn't run into one of those before. And of course she's dead, of course. You know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When you get to humans, you go, oh, fuck this for a game of soldiers. I give up on all this because it's too much.
That's why he's just poked a hole in the ozone layer. We'll kill us slowly and eventually.
But then, humans just made Force Awakens, so...
Well, they did.
We can do some great things as well. Anyway, that's my theory. Everything's old. If you can think of new things and exciting things, let me know. But otherwise, you're just waiting for technology. I'm just now at the moment going, video games. I get it. I've done it. I've seen it all. Now I'm waiting for virtual reality. Like, let me do that. And then...
I'm looking forward to virtual reality as a thing, obviously, but the type of games that I play, I'll be like virtual reality baking a cake.
You'll be virtual reality Channing Tatum...
oh my god, I didn't even...
You'll be able to,
do your own Magic Mike show, and you'll be able to pick your mics. Like 5 celebrities of your choosing.
Well, they talk about those things. Like, there were demos where you've got couples laying on a bed and they're both wearing it and they're seeing each other's favourite anime characters overlaid over the other person. Yes.
No!
There's going to be all sorts of crazy shit. You're going to just be able to go... Even like when we're podcasting, I'll be sitting here going... I'm going to podcast today with click.
Kat Dennings.
Yeah, and the thing is, you won't even know.
No, I won't know who you have on your...
Isn't that crazy? And then all the people will go and hack the files and do all the mod packs. And
they'll upload the YouTube video.
Yeah, and it'll just be crazy. And reality and fiction are just going to blend together in ways that have never been done before.
Yeah, eventually we are going to be living in an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Which is great to watch Black Mirror. I don't need to live in Black Mirror, I think.
No. Scary.
Yeah, very scary.
All right. You weren't expecting that beginning of the podcast,
No, I wasn't really. No.
Well, we can talk about other stuff. Episode 8 started filming. I reckon that's the biggest news.
Of course it is.
Of the week.
Yeah.
Officially started filming with Ryan Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Of Looper
fame, Ryan Looper as I often call him, or just Looper. He's directing this thing. There was a little bit of a tease of some Luke Skywalker stuff that was shot around at the same time as the Luke Skywalker stuff from episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
I think the spoiler warnings have pretty much expired now for episode 7.
You'd hope so, yeah.
If you haven't
been a few
seen
months.
it, then come on. You weren't going to, let's be honest.
Yes.
So that's exciting, and we got it confirmed that Benicio del Toro is indeed in episode 8.
Which is really cool. I think I said when we were talking about Sicario last year that I kind of forget about Del Toro in between when I see his movies, but every time I see him in something, I'm just like, fuck, he is unreal.
Thread delivers.
Yeah.
Also, some new cast members announced that there had not been rumoured before. Laura Dern.
Well, that's an interesting one.
Of Jurassic Park fame.
Yeah, I was trying to think the other day, and I didn't consult IMDb because I probably should have. Has she done significant things since then? I imagine she's probably done
a lot of
few
stuff.
bits and pieces.
Probably
but
like a lot of dramas and things, I would think.
Like she's not in some kind of popular at the moment pop culture, well, not pop culture thing, but like one of those.
She might be on TV.
Like one of those, like one of those Good Wife kind of TV shows, something like that.
Yeah, I reckon.
Maybe?
I reckon that's exactly the kind of thing that she would be doing.
Alright, IMDb, come on, deliver.
Okay, Mask in 1985, all the way back there.
Damn.
Wild at Heart, October Sky, I Am Sam, The Master, that was 2012.
You're right.
So, yeah, she's done a lot of stuff.
That's not I Am Sam. Nothing like the last year or so?
Oh, Blue Velvet, of course. Grizzly 2, The Predator. Yeah, well, 2012 was The Master. That was pretty big. The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh yeah, she was the mum. Yeah,
Actually,
okay.
she's very active.
Yeah, okay.
2014, Fault in Our
and
Stars, When the
Wild.
Game Stands Tall, Wild, 99 Homes.
Oh, When the Game Stands Tall, I've fucking seen that too. What the hell?
She's a chameleon.
Why am I not remembering her in anything? Because she's a woman.
Yeah. Look, they all look the same to me. From a certain angle, certainly.
Oh man, there was actually an actor in Hail Seas This a Day who plays a very, very small bit part. The yelling guy in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's part of a group of actors that I can't tell apart. So it's like him, I think. Again, I can't remember whether he's the same guy. He's the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You. He may be the same as the guy from Numbers, who I also mistake for Oscar Isaac, which I don't anymore. I thought they were all the same person for a very long time.
Character actor.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's the same with, and we'll talk about it probably a little bit more in, like, when we talk about Daredevil later, but for me, John Bernthal, who's playing Punisher, and Manu Bennett, who's playing Crossbones in Civil War, I can't fucking tell them apart.
That's Frank Grillo who's playing Crossbones in Civil War.
No, well, fucking what Manu Bennett playing?
Manu Bennett, it was Deathstroke in Arrow, and he was the...
Wasn't he something else, though? Oh, fuck, well, then add Frank Grillo into that, then.
Yeah, Frank Grillo's the Purge guy.
Yes. Fuck. See, all these people look the fucking same.
Yeah.
This is
Look,
bullshit.
Classic. That was a classic example of what you just did there, because you were like, these two guys look the same, and then there was a third guy
There was
as
a
well.
third guy.
There was a third guy. There was the third man on the grassy knoll.
This is awful.
So, yeah, Laura Dern, rumours being... I heard a rumour. There's no, like, official rumours. Can you have an official rumour? I just mean, this was someone's opinion that I read, and they went, like, oh, maybe she's Daisy's mother. And I thought, ooh,
What do you mean, Ray's mother?
I mean Ray's mother. Yeah, I think that could be interesting. And Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah, so there was that chat where they were auditioning an actress and looking at her chemistry with John Boyega.
Yeah, they were looking for a new female or an additional female lead.
Yeah.
They were talking about rumours were Tatiana Maslany. More recent rumours were Belle Powley from Diary of a Teenage Girl. Both of those I was quite happy with. Now, we don't know if Kelly Marie Tran is that particular role.
I think it's been heavily suggested that that's who she is.
She's not going to be like a backwards background.
No, she's
Ewok or something like that.
No, she's a what do they call them? Not primary. Like she's an important character. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, probably
So
is then. I mean, she was announced at the same time as Del Toro
Yes.
and Dern.
So she's got to be a big deal.
Which, you know, no one announced Warwick Davis playing Woolavan or whatever the fuck his
That's
name
right.
was for
Yes.
his 2 seconds of background. Okay,
So that'll be interesting if we've got the I mean, obviously they're making a big deal of going for a diverse universe, which is great, of course.
Yeah, she appears to be Asian American,
Yes, yeah.
or is that American Asian?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know.
have a
I
feeling
mean, we
like
need
it's-
an American Asian person to tell us the correct.
Yeah, I have a feeling that my white male privilege does not allow me to even be talking about this stuff at all.
Yes. So we watched a very short clip of her previous work. She hasn't done a heap of stuff, but then Daisy Ridley had done nothing really.
She's done a lot
prior
of
to-
improv.
Yeah, and a lot
comedy,
of kind of funny
web
or
stuff.
die, college humour, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The one we watched, she wasn't overly involved in. She was just sort
No.
of nodding and agreeing with the men.
It was two couples, and they were having an anime night, and it was called Who's Afraid of Sailor Moon, subs versus dubs, and she was on team subs.
Yep.
And they were arguing against team dubs, but really the men got to make all the points, and they were standing up and yelling.
And the women just sort of nodded.
Yeah, she was like nodding so much at crotch level, I almost thought I was watching something completely
else.
different
Yeah.
for a while there. But she seems fun, and she seems like she has a nice energy, and I have a feeling that they are looking for people that are fun to be around.
Yeah.
and are enjoyable and are not going to be a pain in the ass or be divas or anything like that. Or the male equivalent of a diva. I think men can be divas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And obviously they've seen something in her.
Yes.
Obviously, and up to this point, we're in Force Awakens shows us that we can kind of trust where they're going with it. So I don't think that anyone should have any issues, even though she's only kind of done questionable web series stuff.
She had Bell Powley hair. I thought that was interesting. So we shall see. So yes, looking forward to that. We mentioned Daredevil. This week we saw the first of 2 trailers, assuming the second one's going to be Elektra-focused. This was the Punisher-focused trailer for the Netflix Daredevil series, Season 2, which I believe starts in about a month.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? It got people very excited.
So good. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for. I don't know shit about the Punisher really, but I do like. Well, I mean, I like John Bernthal. I mean, I can't tell him apart from 6 other people.
True.
But I do enjoy watching him and stuff, and I think he looks fine. I don't know. I liked it. I think it looked good.
People are very excited, and I'm very excited for it to return. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to binge on it all when it comes out.
Siri has just turned herself on, and she's she's talking about she's transcribing what we're saying.
Is she getting it right? No.
Oh, she's turned herself off again.
Siri, you
damn it,
fuckface.
Siri.
Yeah, so I'm excited, but I'm going to be controversial here. Actually, I'll say something good about it first. When the original series came out, he didn't, of course, put on the costume till about the last 20 minutes of the last episode. And there was something a little bit jarring about it because of what we'd seen up until then. It's that sort of, is this a bit silly or whatever? I think a positive seeing him now in the suit all the time, and I think they've definitely done some modifications and sort of refined it a bit.
The helmet doesn't look as silly as it did.
No, I think it looks fine. I want to say this as a positive. I think that because they did all that work at the beginning, they've really earned this, and seeing him in the suit running around, I just accepted it, as I do Batman or something like that. So that's really cool. I think it's going to be exciting to see that superhero-ness put into it. That said, I think it looks good, and I know it's going to be good. It looks really well made, but I think it's a really ham-fisted trailer. It takes itself so seriously, and all the one-liners and husky voices and being intense. It's pretty silly. And the series was like that anyway. But it's also, this is so important and so... Rah. And the Punisher, you said, I don't know much about the Punisher. What is there to know? I mean,
Doesn't he just punishes people with guns and his fists?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's this idea of, it's the Punisher, I like the Punisher. But really, it's a guy, and as this trailer shows, it's just a guy that's shooting people.
Yeah.
That's not a superhero or an anti-hero or a comic book character. Really, it's just a guy shooting people. He's taking revenge because something bad happened to him and now he's out shooting people. So... Which
is like most superhero origin stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
Though they just choose not to shoot people.
Well, people have said, he says that the difference between you and me is one bad day, which is Marvel cribbing the Killing Joke from DC, which is what the Joker is. Yeah. That's his whole hypothesis to Batman. So, yeah, I just think I'm excited about the Punisher, but then... And this is the problem with the Punisher, because the Punisher's comic book costume... especially the original one, is so fucking ridiculous. No one would wear a black bodysuit with white gloves and boots. White boots, white gloves, and the big white skull. But the thing is, without that kind of frivolous, larger-than-life
he's not really the Punisher. Yeah.
He's just a guy that, there are a lot of people out there that, I mean, people usually shoot people for revenge or profit or whatever. They're pretty common reasons to go and shoot somebody. So, yeah, it's just what's the deal with him? That said, what they did with Kingpin in the first season was absolutely fantastic. The depth that they gave him and the journey that he had, that's what really won me over more than the character of Daredevil himself, was the portrayal of Kingpin. I thought that was brilliant, and he was a brilliant villain. So I trust it. I just think it's kind of a silly trailer. And I think that the internet in general doesn't have the scope to be able, the sort of variance to be able to go, I'm so excited about this, it looks really good, but it's also pretty camp and silly. It's really ham-fisted. It's no, no, it's dead, like we have to, But I can be looking forward to it. Like, I am looking forward to it. I think it's going to be so great, but it's so ham-fisted. But Frank Miller is ham-fisted, all that sort of shit. That's what it is. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And we got a teaser for the teaser for Ghostbusters. We got very odd that, I guess it works as an announcement to say that the trailer's coming out, was it early March?
Yeah.
But,
so generic.
yes.
Like, it could be from any movie
30
ever
second
released.
Ghostbusters teaser with no Ghostbusters and no ghosts. It's basically like crowds of people, the military, the police, everybody like assembling, and it says who you're gonna call.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminiscent, I guess, of that final act of the original Ghostbusters with everybody in the streets and all that sort of stuff.
But, like, I don't kind of understand, like, get why they would even bother releasing it. Like, we don't see anything. It's not going to get anyone who wasn't particularly hyped any more hyped. It's not going to change anybody's opinion on what they think of the thing. Like, it was just a 30-second thing that just happened, and then people are going to go, okay, well, I never need to watch that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just such a nothing thing.
I'm more excited by the Toy Fair reveals last weekend, really, in terms of Ghostbusters. Not just the figures, but there's that demon character, which we saw in Lego form and also as a big full-fledged action figure. And I think it's an interesting design. I think it does have that little bit of Muppety kind of goodness that you would expect from Ghostbusters, that kind of almost caricature kind of feel. And looking at some of the figures, it kind of feels that, I'm not sure, like maybe there's going to be a ghost which looks like the ghost from the logo. So...
Well, unless they're just making figures reminiscent of the logo.
No, there's a version of it though with a bow tie and fangs, and it's called something's... it's a person's name and something's ghost. Although I don't know if that's like the creator or something, or of the original design. I don't think it is, but something weird there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we'll find out. I'm looking forward to it anyway. So there we go. Shall we talk about Hail Caesar?
Sure.
Coen Brothers' latest 1950s Hollywood. Josh Brolin is a producer who...
He's having a very hard day.
Hard couple of days dealing with a lot of crazy stars. It's a huge cast. Nobody has a massive part though. And George Clooney gets kidnapped off a big set while doing a movie called Hail Caesar. But there's a lot of other movies that are in production as well, and a lot of other problems. And it's a very beautiful film with some very memorable and fun characters. It's well performed. And what did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I think the trailer was quite misleading as to what I thought it was going to be, as to what it turned out to be. It did seem like a little bit of a fun crime caper sort of thing, where George Clooney's getting kidnapped, and perhaps, the whole thing was going to be about finding him and getting him back, which it wasn't really at all. Wonderful cast. Like, the best thing about this cast is they've got them in very comfortable roles. Like, nobody's really massively stretching themselves. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that they've really recognised what these people's strengths are, and they're playing up to their strengths.
Which I think is smart if you're going to give people very small parts.
Yes.
Because you need that shorthand. You're not developing this character over a long period of time. You need to see the character and the way they look, the way they present themselves. You need to get it in a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And I feel it's a similar way to how Wes Anderson works. And I actually felt that this almost had something in common with a Wes Anderson film, in the sense that it, a series of really interesting
kind of bizarre
designs
sort of
and concepts and set pieces, which all just kind of happen.
Yeah, and I guess that's... I mean, I will say, I did enjoy this movie, but I think that Wes Anderson-y thing was almost what left me a tiny little bit disappointed, because I almost wanted to push further. And if it was Wes Anderson, it would have been just even crazier and more manic and tied together like a tight little ball of yarn. But it wasn't. But it was still a very, very solid, entertaining movie. And even though it does kind of end up being a sequence of set pieces, they were really enjoyable set pieces.
They were. I think that the trailer has far more focus and drive. The trailer feels like there's a real through line, which it kind of feels missing from the film. It certainly does not have that formulaic Hollywood 3-act structure. And
which you almost feel like maybe it should have, because it's referencing the golden age of Hollywood so strongly that then why didn't they just go all the way out and just do that?
It's a real dilemma for me, because I feel like films should, we should be embracing film that doesn't do that, because we get handed that so often. But there is something about, especially seeing a film like that for the first time, where you have difficulty navigating it, because you never know how far into it am I, are we near the end, are we not near the end, should I be... Like, I think I was striving to find meaning in a lot of stuff. Like, well, what's this about? How does this relate to that? What I feel is the main story.
And there's some characters that literally don't matter, which in the end is kind of a little bit disappointing, because they're nice characters, but in the whole scheme of the thing, they might as well just not even be in there.
There's certainly B storylines which are quite tangential, and they don't really tie into that whole Clooney plot at all. So that was kind of weird. But then, it's so entertaining. I think I can see why it's divisive, because I feel like, especially a lot of mainstream moviegoers aren't going to have the patience for it.
It does stroll along at a very leisurely pace. It's not very snappy.
I just think there are people that are going to see Ride Along too, and there are people that are going to see this.
That's the thing. That's the thing. They're going to see this trailer and go, oh, I like Scarlett Johansson, I like Channing Tatum, I'll go see Hail Caesar. Yeah. And then be like, oh, they weren't really in the movie.
No, they're not very much. I mean, you can extrapolate a lot
it's
of
pretty
what
much,
happens with those characters
it's Josh
from the
Brolin
trailer.
and George Clooney, pretty much.
Yeah.
Mostly.
And I thought they were... Obviously, I'll do an episode of ScarJo Agogo and talk about her couple of scenes in great detail. And I do think there was some interesting fodder there for ScarJo Agogo. There's definitely some things I want to talk about. I am really happy with her and what she did. I think that it is a nice step for her. It's a fun role, and she does some great comedic stuff. I feel like this film was never created around it wasn't a skeleton. Like, it was never this solid skeleton of a story that they gradually added flesh to. I feel like they had a whole heap of flesh and stitched it together, basically.
Cohenstein's monster.
Yeah, because it feels like it's such a wonderful portrayal of 50s Hollywood. And it feels like they sat down and brainstormed on a big piece of butcher's paper and said, okay, we need to do the synchronized swimming scene. We need to do one of those tap dancing sailors in New York kind of scene. We need to look at the Western. We need to look at all this. Or wouldn't it be interesting if I know that there were producers that would have had to have deal with actors doing this or that, or
communism.
Yeah, like Trumbo was about that, and it's like, okay, so let's look at the communism thing and all these kinds of things, and they picked up all these threads, and they just kind of did these scenes, which are almost like skits about them. It's cinematography by Roger Deakins. We were talking about this on a previous episode about how we don't ever stop to think about cinematographers. And here's this guy that, when you look at something like Sicario, which he also did, that's where that quality comes from, where you go, oh my God, this film looks amazing. So I really enjoyed all those sequences. I mean, they're stunning. I loved, this was such a grand entrance for Scarlett. I think that it was kind of funny. I said this to you afterwards. Like, I think she's quite an ungainly beast in real life, from what I can gather from doing the podcast about her and watching all her films. I wasn't expecting any sort of grace or amazing things with the synchronized swimming, and she really does not do much apart from stand around.
Everything happens around her.
Everyone's dancing around her, and she's really the centerpiece. If you've seen Miss Piggy do the synchronized swimming scene in Muppets, Great Muppet Caper, Scarlett did pretty much as the pig puppet did. But was still just so much presence. I love that. But then you contrast that to Channing Tatum doing the tap dancing sailor bit, and he does that whole routine.
Yeah, he does everything.
And he's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him that. I think that's so funny when you think back to a film like G.I. Joe coming out and people being like, who is this big fucking potato? He's useless. He can't do shit. He's ruined this movie. And then you see what he's able to do in a far better movie.
Yeah.
since then, and then they even killed him off for the sequel, and then it was like, oh shit, no, now we have to put in flashbacks and stuff and get him back because he's very beloved.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I've been a bit of a champion for Channing Tatum, even though I'm still not sold on him as Gambit, but I am a fan of his, and it's really, with him, it's about getting him in the right role, which is, I guess it's the thing for any actor,
It
really.
is.
But he has this kind of niche of, I guess, slightly dramatic comedy, which is not something that everyone can do, but he's so good at it. Like, fucking 21 and 22 Jump Street, he's absolutely wonderful in that, and Magic Mike as well, obviously.
I want to get that across to listeners, because I hear even really intelligent people who I discuss film with come up with this sometimes. So they say, oh, this actor can't act. This person can't act, whether it's Brad Pitt or Shia LaBeouf or whoever. Can't act, or Channing Tatum, where people would say that as well. That's just such bullshit. And I know this from working in theatre, but I also know this from, watching one actor's all of their films. It's always about the vision, it's always about the director, it's always about what's going on. Anybody who is in a big film, unless it's like stunt casting like Paris Hilton or Tara Reid or whatever. But that said, that's probably not fair to Paris Hilton, because I haven't watched Repo the Genetic Opera, which I hear is really good. So I know Tara Reid's absolutely fucking shithouse in something like Sharknado or whatever, but that's because of life choices. But I just think anybody who's made it...
doesn't have a septum anymore.
...up to that level...
They've got to do something right.
Yeah, they can act, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that the directors could take instead.
Yeah, I mean, people could say, well, maybe she just gave the director a blowjob. There would be hundreds of girls willing to give that director a blowjob to get that part.
I just think, they're choosing that person for a reason, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
and they actually make a point of that in this film, that Hobie character.
Yeah.
He's doing very, very well in one type of movie, and then they take him out, put him in another one, and it doesn't go quite so well.
Yeah, and then it's suddenly like, oh, he can't act, but he was really good at something else. Yeah. So I really want to drive that home. And you've got to remember as well, because someone was saying, we're having this conversation, and this is with somebody that I absolutely love and respect, and I'm only bringing it up to sort of make the point, because it helped me clarify it in my own mind. This idea of, oh, well, this actor, I find they overact a lot in, well, she said George Clooney overacts a lot in Coen Brothers films, and that's off-putting. She's 100% right, because he does. And he did in this as well. There were bits where he is being really over the top, especially compared to, say, Brolin or something.
Yeah. But then perhaps surely the Coen brothers are telling him to do that.
Exactly.
Because it's their movie. They wouldn't keep asking him back if they thought he was shit.
Actors don't just turn up and do what they want on the set. The director is doing it. And the other thing, it's film. So something like theatre, the director is still really helped craft that performance and balanced all the performances together. However, when an actor gets up on stage, it's in their hands.
Yeah.
They're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah. The film director can tell them to stop and do it again.
Yeah, and they choose the takes as well. You are seeing the thing that has the director's stamp of approval. You are seeing the performance that they want you to see. The one that they've decided that's as good as I'm going to get, and I'm going to put it out there. So I think there's so many factors. That not a problem in this film. I think everyone was pretty great. I think actually, all these heightened characters, and this is a skillful thing to do, I think, is you've got all these really heightened, diverse, crazy characters, and they do manage to enable them to coexist in the same movie and be operating on a pretty similar pitch the whole way through.
Yeah.
An example, and I'm sure I've mentioned this on a podcast before, of the opposite, and I heard a critique of Bad Teacher, with Cameron Diaz and Justin Timberlake and Jason Segel. And then there's another main cast member who I can't remember. But where that director has failed is they're all being in completely different movies. Jason Segel's like, I'm doing that Apatow kind of thing, which, is a style. That comedy is pitched in a certain way. Timberlake's playing this crazy broad caricature, which is like off an Austin Powers movie or something, so they're all doing different things, and the director has not managed to pull it all together, whereas that's not a problem. So I thought it was interesting. While we had lunch afterwards and we were talking about all of this, I looked on Rotten Tomatoes. I was genuinely curious as to how Caesar is received, because it was one of those things where we came out of the cinema and we didn't talk about it straight away. It wasn't something where we came out going, oh, that was fucking amazing, I love this. But at the same time, I had the feeling that we enjoy, we could hear each other. I was laughing and I was smiling all the way through it.
Yes. Yeah.
But
though I think it was quite funny that when we were at the cinema getting ready to cross the lights, there was, I'm not going to say exactly what they said because it's a bit spoilery, but there were some ladies who didn't grasp that an earlier character was the same as a later character, even though they weren't wearing like a costume or a mask or anything. They just had no idea how that tied together, and I was like, ooh, that's a problem.
Well, it's 80-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, so generally quite favourable. I'm trouble speaking. I have trouble speaking all the time.
I think the problem with Rotten Tomatoes, which is probably why, and I did like Deadpool, but that would be why Deadpool has such a hugely high rating. I think it's pretty much a, did you like it, did you not?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying Deadpool is not a amazing movie, but if I had to say, did you like it, did you not? I would say, yes, I liked it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, 100%. And I don't really trust Rotten Tomatoes that much because of that.
No, but what the interesting thing I wanted to bring up is the comments underneath, the users. And this is where you get your mainstream America going, what the fuck is this thing? and this struck me as... so this is your counterpoint. If you're thinking, well, is it for me or not? You've heard us talk about what we liked about it and why we were entertained and why we were very happy to have seen it, even though it doesn't really... The journey is more important than the destination, for sure.
Yeah, and I've read some crazy reviews of this that accuse it of being like a bit hateful and racist, and I couldn't find any
I didn't know how that fit into this at all.
Yeah.
The title is Talk About a Total Horseshit Movie.
Oh dear.
78% fresh horse manure. Seen this movie last night and can't believe RT has a 78% rating. I can't remember when I saw a movie so bad and was totally shocked by RT's rating. He mustn't see many movies, right?
Holy shit.
That's what I never get, is when someone's like, oh, this is... And there's quite a few of them that are like, this is one of the worst things. It's so beautifully crafted,
like, have you seen 5 movies
performed and designed. Like, I would never say this was a bad movie just because of the craft, even. The story doesn't hold much together, but like...
But it's not bad.
Deadpool's story doesn't hold together.
No, that's
Fucking Force Awakens story doesn't hold together. Look, we talked about nothing new. There's no, like, story 2.0 either. All the stories are just a fucking shambles. And this is... I'll skip to the end. Please go to any other movie than this piece of shit. Horrible, horrible. When I was leaving, I said to the manager, you should be put in jail for taking money and showing a movie so bad.
Holy shit.
So... That's what I wanted to get across.
Don't listen to that guy.
Not everyone's going to love it, but they're the kind of people. I mean, like, would you trust that guy?
No. Yeah.
That guy sounds like like the Punisher.
Sounds like the sort of guy who's going to drink Pabst Blue Ribbon in his pickup and then and go shoot some foxes or something. Like, if you are listening to this, we assume that you have
impeccable taste,
some amount of culture within your being, and you'll probably like this movie.
Yeah.
But if there will be people that agree with that person, and there have been plenty of reviews. But I think if someone is really into that whole golden age of cinema thing, I think that will tickle their fancy anyway, because it is. Not wanting to use a cheesy term, but it is in a way like kind of a bit of a love letter to all of those different styles, and it is done in a very loving way, and very enjoyable, not mind-blowing, but definitely worth a look.
Yeah, I would even go, maybe it's a 3.5 or 4 stars for me.
Yeah,
and that's because of the craft.
Yeah, I would feel bad giving it 3.5. Just because it was just so nicely done.
It's a 4, isn't it? Because it's just so fucking nicely put together. Like when there's so many films that aren't nicely put together. It's like, that's why I can't fathom someone going, I can't, that's the worst thing I've ever seen or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking go and watch Goosebumps or something and then tell me that this isn't a well-made film.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Okay, that was the meat.
Yes.
We've got a couple of little potatoes rolling around the plate.
Yeah.
You talked about Lion King
Yes.
last week. That was quite interesting. And
and it's funny, I didn't, you said, you're going to get people going, "Rrr, you didn't like Lion King." I got 0 people going, "Rah, rah, rah, you didn't like Lion King." So obviously nobody fucking liked Lion King. Great. I mean, the majority.
they all hated its stinking guts.
But
They're all about Hamilton. That's all anyone's interested in.
Fucking Hamilton, I love Hamilton, holy
Yeah.
shit. Anyway, we're not talking about Hamilton because I will go on for hours, but there was something that I forgot to talk about last week, which was, as I was leaving the theatre, I overheard a conversation which made me laugh a lot, and I enjoyed it more than the play. There were 2 girls of maybe mid to late 20s talking about The Lion King 2. Which I hadn't seen at that point.
It's a direct-to-video.
Yes, it's called Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, and the idea is that it is Simba's daughter, and it's kind of a, how like Lion King was kind of a little bit Hamlet. Lion King 2 is a little bit Romeo and Juliet-y.
All right.
And they were talking about, so the girl lion's name is Kiara.
Yep.
And the boy's lion's name is Kovu. And Kovu looks exactly like Scar. Like, we're talking like the kind of dark fur, dark mane, green eyes, exactly like Scar.
Big scar down the side of the face.
Oh, not at the start of the movie. But
Oh.
he, and so they're going, but, okay, so if they get together and Kiara is Simba's kid and Kovu is Scar's kid, which, remember, I hadn't seen the movie at this point, is that not incest? Is that like second cousin incest? Is that like an okay incest? Is this what Disney's trying to tell us? Or is that a bad incest and they're just trying to not have us think about that? And that made me laugh a lot, because at that point, again, I thought that Kovu was Scar's kid. So I watched Lion King 2, which was not as shit as I thought it was going to be.
Just to clarify,
Okay.
you watched The Lion King 2 too.
Yes, as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you wearing a tutu?
I wasn't at the time.
Okay.
No, I'd taken it off. But yeah, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So there's that. I did think it was going to be a steaming pile of shit, and it
Lion
was not.
shit.
Lion shit, yeah. And it wasn't. It wasn't that bad. There was a few bits that I was actually quite invested in, and it made me laugh because there's a lot of time spent in the movie where they specify that Kovu is not actually Scar's son. He's just a random cub that is in Scar's kind of pride, which was never mentioned in the first movie at all, but Scar has this secret pride that turns up. But no, he's not Scar's son, and they mention it a whole bunch of times. They're like, we are definitely not doing incest, even though this lion looks exactly like the uncle lion. Definitely not incest. It totally looks like incest, though.
So these girls got it wrong.
They did get it wrong.
Which is so typical. I don't mean of girls, but I mean of people commenting on pop culture and getting all in a tizzy about stuff and claiming, getting out their virtual pitchforks and torches saying Disney loves incest. Mickey and Minnie, brother and sister, and they fuck all the time.
Yeah, which is... It's kind of a shame that it wasn't incesty, because I found that really funny, and then it turned out to not be a thing, and I was actually a little bit disappointed. But the funny thing is, because Kovu is kind of one of those animals. The fox from Robin Hood is one of those animals.
Makes people yiffy.
Okay. Yeah, and so that was, I felt really uncomfortable watching it. I'm just there's, so many people would have masturbated to this lion, and I hate the thought of that. I hate that so much.
Just for the record as well, I don't have a problem with lion incest. I think, the circle of life, the rules of the jungle, I just think, if lions want to get it on, let them get it on.
Oh, look, I think second cousin lion incest is probably okay, but you don't want to, make that gene pool too small. You need to branch out, or there's going to start to be birth defects, and then the whole pride dies,
Back in my early 20s, I went to the zoo.
And fucked a lion?
No, but I saw lions fucking.
Okay.
I saw these lions fucking, and I had a film camera back then. I was there with my first long-term girlfriend. Well, not a year and a half it was. And I took this great photo of the lions fucking, really well framed and everything. And then I got the photo developed.
Yeah.
And when it came back from the developing place, they
had one of those stickers.
Yeah, had a sticker on saying, "This is a really great shot. Would you like to get it enlarged and framed?" Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wonder, because you always hear the stories of those people that work in the in the photo developing.
Yeah.
They have like a special drawer.
They do.
Yeah, and they must just go through. They must see such boring, shitty bullshit photos that they must take such joy when they see a photo come through of lions fucking that they think this gets a gold sticker. This absolutely gets a gold sticker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't watch anything like that, but I did see The Room again.
Oh yeah.
And that inspired me to watch Samurai Cop 2, where Tommy Wiseau is the villain.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
I was kind of doing other stuff at the same time, and it was really hard to follow. I don't know what the story was, but there was a lot of screaming and flashbacks,
samuraiing,
craziness.
Yeah.
We talked about The Purge before. That's what I love about The Room, is that I'm so anal about people behaving in cinemas.
Yeah.
Like, I want everyone to shut up. And then The Room is The Purge.
Yeah.
It's just 2 hours.
Just scream as much as
do
you
what you want. And
yeah.
I yelled out some shit. I had a great time. All right. X-Files?
Yeah, so we're coming down to the end of our little mini season of X-Files. Only 6 episodes. We have had 5 so far. And I've got to say, this season hasn't quite gone where I expected it to go. They seemed to set up, in the first couple of episodes, an arc that I thought they were going to follow. That they were going to try and find this kid, William. And it sort of hasn't worked out that way. So the first 2 seemed like the setup. The third one, okay, that was like a kind of funny one, and I thought, okay, they're just taking a little break in the middle here, and then the last 2 are going to be this back to this arc, and it really, the last 3, yeah,
2,
yeah, last 2 are going to be that, but
3,
yeah, 3. Yeah, so, yeah, last 3. And so there was the one after the funny one was kind of like the scary one. So they're kind of hitting all the beats that X-Files hit over there. You know, it's like a little X-Files quality street. There's a lot of different flavours from the series that they're revisiting. Yeah, the very last episode kind of stood out to me and left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, to be honest.
This is the very last episode you watched, which is episode 5, not the very
final
last one
episode
of the series.
Yes.
How would you describe the taste?
Salty.
It's a little bit salty.
Yeah. So it starts off.
Californication.
Oh man. Oh my god. I saw an episode of that on TV the other day. I haven't seen that in so long. Oh my god. So good. Anyway, it starts off, okay, so there's a Muslim man, he's praying on his little mat thing and doing his Allah Akbar and all of that sort of stuff, and then he rolls his mat up, goes and has some breakfast.
I haven't seen this, by the way. I'm hearing about this for the first time.
This is the opening, like, 5 minutes.
You and I are in on this, listener. We're hearing this for the first time. Yep.
He goes and has his breakfast, which looks like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It kind of looks like he has like a beardy, a Muslim-y sort of Bin Laden-esque kind of guy on his fridge, but I'm not judging. It could be his dad, could be his uncle, I don't know. And then he kind of gets in his car and he's at the lights and these like rednecks in their pickup are yelling stuff at him for being a brown person. He's like, oh, and just puts his windows up, and I'm like, good on you for taking the high ground there. He drives up, meets his friend, and they're all like, oh, hey buddy, and like talking in Arabic and whatever, and then they go into this this building. It's like an art gallery or something, and I'm like, man, this would be really shitty of this show if that building was to blow up and then the building blew up.
Is X-Files like a right-wing show?
I didn't think so. And it was fucking weird. There was nothing supernatural about this opening, and even the episode, I didn't feel where they took it really justified the way that they put the story together. Like, essentially it was about communicating with someone in a coma. They could have fucking done that anyway without having Muslim characters self-detonate and blow up some people. Like, that was really fucking weird, and yeah, I kind of thought the internet would go a bit more crazy about that, and I really haven't seen anyone get too upset about it, so I'm a little bit confused.
This is a people that are about to elect Donald Trump.
Well, that's correct.
So
yeah, I
they've got a meritude.
So yeah, I'm interested to see where how they wrap it up with this last one, and I do want them to, like, it's been really popular, everybody loves it, and I kind of hope that they do bring it back for a full season, but I am really, really worried that in this last episode as well, they introduced these 2 fucking awful characters that were 2 agents who were basically exactly Mulder and Scully, but younger versions. And I am so so concerned that if they go forward with the X-Files, they're going to have these two. Because I will not watch it because they were fucking awful.
Are they hot?
Yeah, you'd probably find the girl quite hot. The boy is the brother of the guy in Arrow, so he's like really generically handsome.
Yeah, I'm not that worried about the guy.
No, I know. Like, the girl is like kind of cute and redheaded, but quite irritating, and I had that backed up by other male friends who said that she was quite irritating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I should be the judge.
Okay, you judge.
Jury.
You need to catch up. You will really like the third episode.
Well, I've been watching, it only showed up on Netflix on Friday, Love, which is a comedy series produced by Judd Apatow, also wrote some of it, and it stars Paul Rust and Gillian Jacobs.
Okay.
And I'm halfway through, and I'm really quite enjoying it.
Yeah,
so,
right. What is it about?
It's these two people that have been unlucky in love.
Oh.
But no, it's quite edgy. It's got that sort of Apatow style for sure.
Yeah.
It's got some swears and some nudity and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
Well, that worked for Deadpool. It made it the best movie ever. So, yeah, and I don't know, are they going to be in love? Are they not going to be in love? They don't meet until the end of the first episode, and they seem like an unlikely pairing, and they're not together yet, but they're kind of circling around, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
But there's some clever writing in there. The 5th episode, which is the one I'm just sort of finishing up, is, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The only reservations I had, and this is my cultural thing, and this is why we make fun of America all the time, is because I'm sick of this bullshit. There's an Australian character in there, played by, I can't remember her name, unfortunately. Is it Claudia O'Doherty, something like that? She's in Trainwreck. She's at the baby shower.
No.
Anyway, she's lovely, and she's really good as well. She plays Gillian Jacobs. I always stop on Gillian because I want to say Gillian. On Gillian Jacobs' flatmate.
Okay.
And she's really cool, and they don't massively overdo the Australian stuff, but there is occasions where they condescendingly mention it or talk about it, and I just feel like, do people from other countries, like, I interact with, we're quite diverse here. I know in my workplace I interact with a lot of people from different countries. They don't talk about how they're from different countries, or in, like, Gillian introduces her at one point and goes, yeah, she's from Australia, and yes, I already asked, she has hugged a koala bear. And it's like, what the fuck is it? Like, one, is that a joke? I don't think it is a joke. Like, I mean, in the sense that it's not funny. There's no sort of structure or payoff. It's not satirizing anything or doing anything like that. And it's just so dumb. Like, it would be like an Australian thing meeting an American and being like, oh, yeah, and they've
killed a person with a gun.
They've invaded a country and killed a lot of brown babies. No, I didn't know. Like,
taken their oil.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you mention a bald eagle or a grizzly bear? It's like, how often does the average person in America even see something like that? I know someone says, well, I live up in the fucking... Well, yeah, good for you, boonies, man. But not... You know what I mean?
Living in suburbia, you're not going to see a koala.
I saw a koala in the zoo.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. And they're not bears either.
No.
Stick that up your ass. So that I didn't like. I thought, oh God, that's Americans. I mean, I think it's almost because a lot of the viewers probably are so ignorant of Australia in the way that I've heard, because most Australian actors aren't talking like like this, they assume they're British. Because I've heard people say that about Rebel Wilson all the time, like, oh, she's British and stuff like that. Her
English accent is awful. I think British people should be offended.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, do they keep having to mention she's Australian so that the viewers go, oh, she's Australian, right? I thought she was British. I don't know. But that sort of bothers me. And I almost stopped watching, I've got to be honest, because she's a big feature in the 5th episode. She goes on a date with Paul Rust's character, and I thought, oh, fuck, like, is that going to become a thing? And it's really not, and it's such a great episode. They don't mention the Australian thing, so that was really good. But yeah, it's always so condescending. It's like people have to... You can't just have a character come in and be Australian. You have to say, oh, you've got an interesting accent, or I've got to mention spiders or snakes or kangaroos or something like that. And I fucking hate that, because would you do that, like, if an Asian person walked in or a black person or something like that? Would you start talking about their ethnicity and start bringing up stereotypes about their country, you know? So don't fucking do it to us, America. Stick a boomerang up your date.
Because we all have them in our houses.
I've got one in a holster on my fucking hip.
Like Captain Boomerang.
Yes.
We're all I mean, look,
Christ,
Captain Boomerang.
That's going to happen again in Suicide
now,
Squad.
look, we need to talk about Captain Boomerang.
We have
because he is the most authentic Australian character that has ever been. Because we all have mutton chops, even I do.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to shave them daily. It's just shitty.
It's not on your face.
And we all have boomerangs and like little holsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, when you're watching
stewardess costumes.
Yeah, when you're watching Suicide Squad, then you can have a takeaway that he is the most Australian person you will see on screen. The last thing we're going to talk about, okay, so we've spoken about participating in these trading card breaks before, right?
And last time you just missed out on the Sebastian Stan.
Oh, the Sebastian Stan Hayley Atwell autograph.
Hayley Atwell autograph.
Oh my god, that killed me. But I was like, all right, fair play. You know, this is the luck of the draw. You know, everything's fine. And that was in the Captain America Winter Soldier box, and a Avengers Age of Ultron box was put up, and I was like, oh man, imagine the stuff that could potentially be in that. So I bought maybe it was probably like a quarter of the box. Like I bought quite a few spots in that box.
You got 3 out of 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 2, thinking that maybe one of them would contain like Scarlett's bra or something like that.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah. So I'm getting like I got some alright stuff, you know, like I got a wardrobe card which was like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and fucking what's his name? Strucker, yeah, great.
You were out of lucker.
I was out of lucker, and then I'm like, oh yeah, going, and then getting in my cars and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah, man, the autograph hasn't come out in this box yet.
And we knew it came down to 3 people, didn't it? Didn't they say like it's going to be you, me, or this other
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that opened up my packet, and there wasn't anything in there. I still had one to go. The packet after my packet. Let's stress that I missed out on this by 1 fucking packet.
And let's say as well, the chances of an autograph are not high. They're not guaranteed per box.
No, and I mean...
Guaranteed per box, you're going to get an autograph or a sketch card.
Yes.
Now, sketch cards are done by nobodies usually.
Yeah.
They get paid about $1 to $2 per card, I believe.
Yeah.
And if you look on eBay at sketch cards, most of them are fucking hideous. Like, I would not really... It'd have to be really great art.
And I mean, even with the autographs, you are really taking a gamble because there's a limited chance of getting anyone good.
And people like Scarlett didn't sign or anything like that. I don't know if Downey signed. I think he has done in the past. I don't think he did for this one.
I don't think there was for this lot.
You know, you might get Baron von Strucker is what we're saying.
Yeah. Or the Korean scientist that helped make Ultron. But... so I'm sitting there, I'm making dinner, I've got this playing on my phone, like on the sideboard, I'm just like do, and I'm watching it, then this packet gets fucking opened, and when Marco pulls out a packet that has something really good in it, he'll pull out the stuff like in front of it and behind it so that he reveals the good thing last.
He's shifty.
He pops up this thing, we've got an autograph card, and he pops it up. It is a fucking Jeremy Renner autograph card.
Your favourite.
Oh, the fucking noises that came out of my mouth. I sat on the floor and just went, no! Why? I'm not a bad person. What have I done to deserve this? I was so... Look, I know it's really fucking trivial and stupid. I was so fucking upset. You genuinely don't understand. And then I was like, fuck it, I'll just look on eBay and see how much they are. $700!
Yeah.
Oh my god. So, I was so fucking traumatized by this.
We should have bought the case.
We should have bought the fucking case.
Split the case.
He's put up another case, but the odds are it's not going to have another Jeremy Renner autograph.
No, probably won't even have an autograph. So.
Yeah, so fucking disappointed.
My holy grail is the Black Widow costume card. There's the single, which goes for about $1,000, which is why I don't have it. Or I've got all the ones from previous films.
Oh my god! And I was like, I'm never participating in a break again. This is fucking shit. And then he put up a box of Indiana Jones cards, and they were really cheap, and I just went, ooh, I'll buy some of those. I didn't get any like interesting chase, because I was like, you know what, if he breaks that box and I miss out on the Harrison Ford autograph by 1 packet, I'm gonna burn this city to the ground. Thankfully there was an autograph. It was a shitty one, so it was all fine. Well, and I got some quite nice cards too.
The people of the city of Perth, thank you.
Yes.
All right, I think that's a show. I think that's
so.
it. I think that's
Yeah.
done. I think that's legally what constitutes a show.
Yeah.
Go to fruitlesspursuits.com to find all our other things. That includes The Book Was Better. This week is Flipper Faster Than Lightning. With Xavier from
okay.
Something Joystick, so that should be really
Nice.
good. And you can also find the links to our Facebook discussion page. Oh, look, fuck you guys for the games night I tried to do. Everybody was absolutely shit. Oh, I have to download a game to play it. I have to download Skype. I have to do this. I have to turn what? Huh? You guys?
Sorry, guys, you've only had like a week's notice.
Fucking bunch of dicky danglers,
Yeah.
the whole lot of you.
At least
so,
I told you like 2 weeks ago I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, you told me to get stuffed. So that didn't happen, but maybe in the future. I don't know. I was actually really kind of sulky that was night. I was like, I don't know why I do things. Like, why am I doing things? Why do we try and organize things and do things and have nice things? Like,
Because people have lives, Luke.
I know. And then I like woke up and went, oh, it doesn't really matter.
No.
And I played with Mike Taylor and it was awesome. We had a great time. So it was
Yeah,
all fun. But no, look, in all seriousness, people are more than welcome. I don't know if it'll bother organising something again, but...
Well, wasn't that the whole idea? That it was an unofficial thing and then people would turn up if they turn up and then if they don't.
Well, yeah, but if you see us online anyway and we're playing something, you're welcome to join us. And there was a new Patreon episode up. A Book Was Better TV on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's available now to Patreon subscribers. It's not too late to join up and get hold of that. Now, I think that's it. I think we better head.
Yeah. Better head.
Better heads.
Oh, damn.
I think we need better heads. Because these ones are a bit lumpy.
We'll wait for Head 2.0.
Head point 2.0 from Godcore this summer.
I head.
Bye-bye.